Hey guys, how's it going? Move Motion Graphics here, and today we'll be taking a look at how you can animate your own character in After Effects from vectors imported from Illustrator. So this tutorial will focus mainly on the rigging of the character in After Effects, and a few tips on how you can animate the character afterwards. To begin this tutorial, we'll need three things. So first is our character illustration, split into several different parts like what is shown here on the screen. And we will also need a few reference images from Google Images to guide us through the animation process. And last but not least, we will need this free plugin called DUIK. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of DUIK before, but it is actually not as intimidating as what it seems to be, so just follow along and I'm confident that you guys will get the hang of it. And as usual, all of this will be linked down in the description below, so check it out. So to begin the animation, we'll just start off by importing our Illustrator file into After Effects. It is important to leave the import settings as what it already is, so that we can see all the different shape layers from Illustrator in After Effects. So right now we'll just be copying all the layers into a new composition so that we don't mess up the original layers just in case we need them again. And right now what you want to do is head over to Windows and select DUIK. And then user interface will pop out, and this is where we will insert all our DUIK structures and controls. So head over to the control section, and this will be where you'll be inserting all the different types of structures that you can link your character to. And let's start off by inserting an arm. So right now we'll just be shifting the structure into place in accordance to our vector layer below. As you shift the forearm and the hand, be mindful that it has to be on the right position where your vector layer ends. And after we're done with one of the arm, we can select the few different structure layers and click on duplicate. So this will duplicate not only the layers, but they will also link the layers and retain the rigging that is already inside of them, so we don't have to do it another time. So right now I'm just speeding up the process of repositioning all the different structures into place. And depending on how your vector character is made, you might want to adjust the amount of spine and neck layers that you might need. It is also worth mentioning that DUIK is a very powerful tool. What we are doing now barely scratches the surface of what this free plugin can do. And also that this kind of rigging usually takes quite an amount of time, but I can assure you that the result afterwards will be definitely worth the effort. And so now that we are done with repositioning all the different structures into place, we're just gonna select all the structure layers and hit on Auto Rig and IK. And give it a few seconds to load up all the expressions and links. And now you should have all the skeletons of your rig ready to link up. When you shift the position of one of the controllers, your bones will move along, and this will also be how we will be animating the whole human figure. But before we get to the animation, we'll need to tell the controllers and the structures to look up to the correct vector layer to affect their position. So what you want to do is select all the different Illustrator layers and link it up to the respective structures. But before we proceed, we'll head on over to the control section and click on hide and show so that we can hide away all the different structure layers. So right now we'll head on over to the specific vector layer and we'll link it to the structure layer that we generated. And we will continue doing this for all the different vector layers that we have. And if your character has a head and a neck in the same layer like mine, you can just use the mask to mask out away the head and make a separate layer for the neck below. And now that we're done with all the linking of layers to our structure layers, we can hide all of them or basically shy out the layers that we don't want to see and leave the control layers so that we can animate them. And to flip around all the different icons which are facing the wrong way, you just want to go to the controller and go under control settings and click on flip. And there's a quick and easy way to test out if your rig is working. You can animate this whole character by selecting all the control layers and hitting on auto walk cycle. And there you have it, that's basically it. Your whole rig is actually working now. So if you want to use the walk cycle, you can adjust the settings by going to the walk cycle layer and playing around with it. I'm just going to turn all the settings into the same ones as the previous render that I did, so feel free to follow along. So to fix minor overshoot in arms or legs, you can always play around with the stretch settings found inside your individual controllers. And if you ever realize that your character has an overshooting arm or limb or leg that cannot be fixed in After Effects, you can always go back to Illustrator to re-edit the Illustrator file, and hitting save will also automatically update After Effects into generating the new vectors. And there you have it, a perfect walk cycle automatically generated by this free and amazing plugin called DUIK. So right now I'll be showing you guys the rest of the texturing, animation and camera work that I did for the render that I showed earlier. So this scene is made out of a few different components, namely the background layer, the character and the floor. So first up, we'll head inside the rig animation composition to show you guys how I achieved this jump animation. So a healthy way to start off your animation is to keyframe the important and crucial poses at the right timings before you head on over to editing the speed and value graphs. So to give you guys an example, this is one of the key poses when he is mid-air. And this is where it looks like in the next frame. And after you're done with keyframing all the key and crucial poses of the action, you want to go inside the graph editor to edit out the smoothness and take note how everything will be more cohesive when they are played together. And going back to the main composition, other than the character, I have this texture layer on top. And the texture of the floor was made using a few different strokes and wave warp on top. And the background was also made with a few different strokes and trapcode particular for generating all the stars behind. And on the main composition, I also used the null to control a camera to pan the camera upwards when the spaceman jumps. And there you have it. This is the whole tutorial and workflow of how I made this animation of this little spaceman walking on top of some random space surface. And if you guys have any suggestions for future tutorials, just leave it down in the comment section below and I'll get back to you all ASAP. Thanks!